Hey folks, Brendan here. Now, are you ready for police recruitment in 2021? This is going to be an awesome year if you are set up to succeed. 2020 is behind us. What an unusual year that was. 2021 is going to continue to be unusual. It's going to continue to have some surprises for us. But pin your ears back, folks, because in this video, I'm going to share with you my predictions for police recruitment in 2021, and importantly, the things that you can do now to ensure that you are set up for success in what is going to increasingly become a really competitive process. Now, for those of you who haven't come across me on my videos before, for over 20 years now, I've been supporting and coaching people to succeed in the police sector in terms of promotion boards, assessment centres, specialist interviews, and over the past several years since I retired from the police, I've helped over 8,000 people get into the police through my coaching, my courses, and I'll put a link below. There's a link below to some of those courses and to the amazing Facebook group that's now got almost 15,000 members. That's right, almost 15,000 people who all support and help each other in the police recruitment process. Over 40,000 posts, comments and reactions a month. I can't keep up with it. And if you're one of those members, awesome that you are. Kudos to you. Keep it going. The support is amazing. It's just fantastic. Anyway, I'll put a link to that as well. So, police recruitment in 2021. What an unusual year it's going to be. But you can set yourself up for success and make sure that you're the person that's going to get that warrant card in their pocket at the end of the process. So what's happening with recruitment at the moment? Well, Boris Johnson promised a 20,000 uplift of additional police officers. Don't get caught out by that one because they're not actually additional at all. 10 years ago, we had 142,000 police officers in England and Wales. And 10 years later, we had over 20,000 less. It was about 22,000 less. So Boris coming along about a year and a half ago and promising an additional 20,000 officers. Hey, it doesn't even get us back to where we were in 2010. The other phrase he uses is new officers. Well, you'll see from my scribbles on my trusty whiteboard that I think one of the challenges up here around vacancies is mid-career officers. So they predicted the sort of numbers that were needed to get them to 140,000 in what will be in about a year and a half, 2 years' time now. And it was based on about 3,000 or 4,000 officers leaving every year mid-career, because we know how many are going to retire. We can predict that. What is unpredictable, though, or actually was predictable, was generally around 3,000 or 4,000 people would leave to do something else. You know, it's fine. You've done 10 or 15 years as a police officer. That's enough. You can resign with honour and go and do something else. You've got amazing skills that are very, very transferable. And that's what many people have discovered. However, now, during this pandemic, how many people are actually going to leave one of the most secure jobs available to put themselves in an employment market that's really, really competitive, where there are far more applicants now than ever for fewer jobs? So what forces are finding is that people just aren't leaving, they're staying, which means that this is impacted on their planning for the number of recruits that they're going to take on, which means that they're over-recruiting. And so what they're doing now, many forces, Leicestershire and Gloucestershire are recent examples, they've given people start dates in 2022. Yeah, not January 2022, which will be in a year's time, but the likes of October 2022, and wouldn't be surprised if over the next month or so we saw people being given start dates of 2023. Stand by, that's going to happen. That is going to happen. And what they're doing is they are giving people start dates based on their scores. So the highest scoring individuals get the start dates closer to the now. The ones that score poorest get a start date into 2022. And you may still pass everything, but you're just not given any start date at all. You're just held in limbo, being told that you passed, well done, but your score wasn't high enough to take yourself either to the next stage, or as happened with Cheshire just recently, they wrote and told everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people, that they'd passed everything, but there just wasn't a space for them. Spaces are limited, I think was how the email headline went. So we've got to make sure that we are scoring way up there. Not just a pass. We are not just after a pass this year. We are scoring up there. All you need to do is score higher than the person metaphorically next to you. This is a race. This is competitive. The police do not owe you a living, and it's always been competitive. When I joined in 1985, the Cheshire Constabulary had gone through 6 days in total of assessments and interviews, 3 days and 2 nights in the Welsh mountains, being beasted up and down mountains and across rivers. I thought I was joining the SAS. It was an awesome weekend, but really, really tough. Only 1 in 40 got in then. So it's not quite as competitive now, but it's always been competitive. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to prepare now. We are going to make sure that we fulfill all the criteria, vetting, educational qualifications, and fitness. Don't forget to look after your fitness. Don't be failing a bleep test right at the very end and having to wait 4 months, 6 months before you can reset it. And make sure that you are actually qualified to get in. Last week, I had someone get in touch with me to say that how devastated they are with my support. They've passed everything, the online assessment centre, the enforced interview. However, they got to the end of the process and found that they didn't have the educational requirements that were needed, sufficient UCAS points. And because they didn't have enough UCAS points, that was it. It's the end of the game. They can't move because of family issues. This individual can't move to another force area. That's the end of their dream. So let's make sure all of those things are right now, and the resources are out there. You know, I've just opened up my laptop and someone's just asked me, do you know what the vetting requirements are for the police? And I've sent them a link, but I did think, just go to Google and input vetting requirements for the police, because that's all I did. And I brought one up that I know is pretty good and just sent it to them. So listen, resources are not the issue, it's the resourcefulness. And you're going to have to be resourceful every day if you want to succeed. What else are you going to have to do? Well, you're taking care of all the things that are going to come later, taking care of your fitness, making sure education's fine, qualifications, vetting. Yeah, it's all good. Now we need to make sure that we get ready for the interview. There's no escaping this, folks. You are not going to be able to wing it on the day. If you're going for your force interview, your in-force interview, your final interview, senior interview, it's called different things. You can't wing it. You're in front of people like me. I used to do the interviewing. You're in front of inspectors and chief inspectors and sergeants who are good people, and they're looking for people who they know can work on their team, who they can be assured are a safe bet to work on their team and not let the force down and not let the communities they're a part of and serve down. Is that you? Well, you've got to demonstrate that in that interview. Which means that the examples you need to come up with, where they ask you questions, tell me about a time when you've had to make a difficult decision, work with others to solve a problem, where you've had to manage and support change, challenge inappropriate behaviour, deliver the best possible service, plan and prioritise a number of tasks, deal with multiple tasks at the same time. These are all really, really common questions. And don't be giving examples about how at university you did a presentation and you came together with 3 other people to work out who's going to do which bit, and then you presented it and got top marks. Everyone can do that. Everyone who's doing a university degree is doing that. You need to demonstrate that you're giving 120% without being asked to do so. And that means that we need to start collecting the evidence now, which means that evidence needs to come from things that are going to make the ears of the assessor, the interviewer, prick up. So let's compare the previous example I've just given you with this one. So in my role as a volunteer in a homeless charity in the centre of Manchester, a problem occurred where at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, I came across an individual who was threatening to self-harm. And just continues, there's a big difference, isn't there? Is there not a big difference? My ears prick up as soon as I hear homeless charity volunteering, and there's a big internal yawn when I hear the 3 of us got together to do a presentation. So listen, I've listened to so many model answers that people have given me, and one of the things that consistently people do is they're not looking for opportunities in their life now to take more responsibility, to challenge themselves, to push themselves. And this is what you need to do. And then record it so that when you get to talk about it, you can practice and rehearse, review, learn, practice, rehearse more, review, learn. Make this part of your mission every day to take action that's going to take you closer to your goal. It's just what you've got to do, folks. There's no way around it. There is no way around it. If you do all of that, it means that on the day of your interview, you are going to be prepared and confident. Prepared and confident. If you come across as being rehearsed, they will clock that and they will make note of it and they will fail you. This is competitive, folks. You don't get that warrant card by happy accident. It doesn't get given to you on a silver platter. You've got to work hard for it, and it's worth it. You might be thinking, that's a bit daunting now, I'm pushing myself in all those different ways that you mentioned before. But if it's daunting, then hey, get ready for the police. Every day is daunting. Every day is a challenge. Every day is something new and unexpected, and that's the delightful part of the role. So let's get ready for the interview. And online assessment centres, they're going to be here to stay. They're not going anywhere quickly. We're going to have this pandemic knocking around for a while, and the previous search assessment centres, day one assessment centres, face-to-face, big group assessments where you go around a carousel of different exercises. I think we've seen the end of those for a while. And if they do come back, I think they'll come back in limited form, and it'll be a hybrid of online assessment and face-to-face. I think that's what we're going to see. And I'm also going to predict one or two forces may decide not to follow the College of Policing's guidance. Well, let's wait and see. I've just got a sneaking feeling that there's one or two forces out there may just decide to do their own thing. Why? Well, because the day one and the search assessment centre had a terrible adverse impact ratio, which meant that far more Black, Asian, minority ethnic candidates were failed than white. Day one was awful for this. Only 43% of Black candidates passed versus 81% of white. That's inexcusable. So waiting to see what the data is like for the online assessment centre. 10 months in, it's still not being released, even though they have the data, which they've had the data for months, which means for me that it's not looking good. College of Policing have not managed to eradicate this discrimination in the process. So they've got to step up. In the meantime, if you have got an online assessment centre that you're faced with, act naturally, be yourself. No, far from it. This is the most formulaic tick box assessment I've ever come across. There's no human interaction whatsoever. You need to prepare to a formula, to a structure that I can show you and you will pass. I'm so confident. Actually, I'm so confident with my interview and my assessment centre courses that if you don't pass and you've done the work I've set you, I give you a full refund. I mean, how crazy is that? You don't pass, you get a free refund. Can you imagine doing that with a book? Those books out there that say how to pass the police promotion process. And going back to Waterstones, hey, I bought this book. It says how to get into the police, how to join the police, and I didn't. I failed. Can I have a refund, please? They'd just laugh at you, wouldn't they? I don't. You've done the hard work that I've shown you, and you can show me that you've done the hard work. You don't pass, I'll give you a refund. It's as simple as that, and it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer, because last year I only gave 2 refunds. And they both came back as well. They both came back and bought the course again and went on to pass. So it's an absolute no-brainer. Yes, I'm going to use this cliche. It's a win-win. Oh, can't believe I just said that. Anyway, folks, there you go. Those are my predictions for 2021 and some of the things that you need to do to get a grip, to start taking action, to build up that momentum so that on the day you can be prepared and confident and score better than the person next to you. That's all you need to do in 2021. Make sure that you score better than the person metaphorically who's next to you so that you get offered the start date as opposed to them. It is competitive, always has been, always will be. It's a job that's worth, it's a way of life that's worth having some competitive edge to get. Don't you think so? All right, folks, well, there you go. There's my 2021. Let's make it a 2021 that's successful. Click on the link below. Come and join us. Come and join us in the Facebook group. Get a feel for what we're all about in the Blue Light community. And I'll catch up with you soon. Bye for now.